Alright, so I'm going to put the welt right at the top of this piece of wood that's here, so it's 2.5 inches from the bottom. Okay. So we've got the first bit of welt attached, and the way that I did it is I lined up basically my welt cord, the actual cord part, with the pencil mark on my chair. So I wanted to talk real quick about a couple things that I did wrong on this chair. Since I'm not a professional in doing upholstery day in and day out for years, I do things wrong a lot, but I do know some of the upholstery standards. Okay, so on this, what I should have done is I should have taken the dacron back up a little bit higher, but I allowed the dacron to go down to about here on the chair, and I really should have cut it off right about here, really, so that I'm not stapling into dacron. And there's a couple reasons why you don't want to staple into dacron. One is because once you get staples in there, they're hard to find and hard to take out. But mainly because, or mostly because, when you're stapling into dacron, it's going to be lumpy. You're creating dimples with your staples because there's a bunch of, not a bunch, but there's a layer of dacron under here, and so it's a little bit puffy, and therefore I get dimples in my welt here. Now, once I get the skirt on here, you won't even notice it really. Once I get my tack strip on here, that will mostly alleviate that, and then the skirt on top of that, you won't see it too much, except you might be able to see a little bit of a shadow of a waviness or a dimple of the fabric above here. It's a small thing, but if you want it to be done right and really well, you don't really want to be stapling into dacron. The other thing is I put these staples on the side of my piece rather than going underneath because I was lazy. That's the bottom line. I wanted to get these done fast, and I was able to do this upholstery fast. You know, I'm reselling these chairs, so time is of the essence, and that's maybe not the right attitude to have. Because, you know, I'm going to be selling this, but that's the way I did it. And really, these staples should be on the bottom so that they're covered by the dust cover. And what I could potentially do is bring my dust cover all the way up to maybe meet this. That's kind of weird too, but that's possible. But bottom line is there's going to be a skirt on here, and so none of this is going to show unless somebody's lifting up the skirt and inspecting the piece. But those are just a couple things that, you know, if I was a professional and doing this for a client, this is definitely no good. And let me show you really on the finished chair how it looks, because it doesn't look that bad. Here's the one finished chair, and you can see it looks great. You can't see any dimples or anything there. Maybe a little bit here. I should probably hammer that flatter. I'm not sure why that's poking out, but you can see it looks really nice. Okay, now we're gonna join these. We're going to open this up and cut out a piece of the cording. It's nice to have this angled edge here because then when you fold this in like that, you don't have a blunt square piece of fabric. So when you go then back down like this, if it's cut square, then you have this whole edge of fabric basically double edge when you fold it back down, and it gets real thick. So that's why it's nice to have this angled cut here when you join together your welt. So you get a little bit less bulk that way. So I'm gonna put a staple here and then here. That way I can pull this piece nice and tight there and staple that down. Okay. All right. Now, cardboard tack strip. The skirt is already made, and I have that separate video for that. So if you want to see that video, you can click on this link here to watch how I made this. It's pretty simple. So I'm gonna start this. What I'm gonna do is pin this like so, upside down. And I'm just gonna go all the way around and pin it. So I know I made this, I made it 5 inches, so I'm going to just bring the edge of my skirt to the edge of the welt. And I just realized I did the tack strip wrong. The tack strip is supposed to go on after the skirt. Sometimes you need to just slow down. That's the problem, being in a hurry, big fat hurry. So that's my advice for today. If you are embarking upon upholstery, take your time. Just stop and think about it and enjoy the process. Don't be in a big fat hurry. Just enjoy the process. In the video where I made the scalloped skirt, I talked about how this should work. Technically, this should just butt join right together like that at the corner, and then I could have just sewn an invisible stitch right here between these 2 joins and it would be perfect. But like I said in the other video, I messed up my calculations on the cup that I used to make this scalloped skirt. So that's why my skirt is like this. So I go into a couple different ways that you could do the scallop skirt. If you didn't want to have it all in one long piece and make it more like a box pleat, you can watch that video. It goes into this measuring and all this. So watch that video, it'll explain a lot. Anyways, so now I'm going to just staple this on and put another piece of tack strip on here and see if it's not too thick. We'll see. Man, how many mistakes can I make on one piece? That's the bottom line, is just slow down. Alright, so another stupid little mistake. I should have cut this metal closure, this pokey thing that I used to close up the chair. I should have cut it off right here above the welt, because it goes down to about here, and because of that, I can't put a staple right there. So I'm going to get a needle and thread and stitch that together and stitch right here to pull that nice and tight to the welt, and then stitch this down so that it's not just flapping open like that. And then we will be done with this thing. Overall, I am really pretty happy with how they came out. It is so cute. I just really love scallop. If you want to see how I made the scallop skirt, you can click on that video right here.